In today's video, I'm going to talk about 7 lessons from stoicism that have completely changed my life and I can guarantee will change your life too. In recent years, stoicism has gotten a bit more popular, be it because of content creators that talk about self-improvement and personal growth. You could include me into that bucket. But where a lot of these creators and a lot of these people fall short is they just encapsulate all of stoicism to this idea of almost being a robot, right? Like being emotionless and not caring what situation you're in and just to push through. And that does somewhat summarize the philosophy, there is a lot more to it than that. So much so that I've decided I wanted to make a video about it. In today's video, I'm going to talk about that idea, but also other ideas that I truly believe will drastically improve your life really overnight. I'm not trying to make some fake promise to get you to stick around. I truly believe that these ideas, when put into a practice, will immediately allow you to improve your life as a whole, whether that's your business, your relationships, your health, whatnot. Yeah, without further ado, let's jump in. Lesson number 1 is to focus on what you can control. The sad reality of the world, sad or not, is that most things are out of your control. And by not recognizing this, we give up control of our emotions and our mental well-being to the universe. What do I mean by this? Do you know that feeling when you're driving down the highway and that guy cuts you off and you get very flustered and upset and maybe you give him the finger, maybe you even speed up and ride his ass for the next 5 miles? Stoicism basically tells us that that is a waste of time and energy. And I know I don't have to tell you that for you to know that, but it's really important to understand what's really going on here. And what's going on here is that you are essentially taking responsibility and for something that is entirely out of your control. And because of that, it is affecting your emotions and your mental state negatively. Another example of this would be if you, say, applied to some jobs and you were really hoping to get them because they really interested you and you thought they'd be fulfilling and fun and a great career, and all of them turn you down. Now, as long as you did everything in your power up until that point to land the job, like create the best resume, really focus and study for the interview, et cetera, sure, it sucks that you didn't get the job. But frankly, that decision was not yours to make. And so by allowing it to affect you negatively, you are really just hurting yourself because it's something that was not in your control. Now, this doesn't mean that you should be an emotionless robot and not care about anything and say that everything's out of your control and that just nothing matters. But what it more so means is that you need to focus on everything that is in your control to best increase the odds of an outcome that you prefer versus just getting upset when the outcome that you prefer doesn't end up happening. To piggyback onto the first lesson, the second lesson is to prefer outcomes but accept reality. A common misconception about stoicism is that people who follow the philosophy don't care about anything. They don't care if it rains, if they get sick, if they're poor, or whatever. But that is actually very false. In fact, stoicism is very keen to make you aware that it is okay to prefer certain outcomes so long as they don't dictate your emotional and mental well-being. It's okay to prefer to have more money. It's okay to prefer to be healthy. It is okay to prefer good relationships over bad relationships or good weather over bad weather. We are human. It would be silly of us to not prefer those things. It would be against our nature to act in that way. But at the same time, it is important to not allow those things to consume you. It's advantageous to desire to be wealthy or to be rich. But if you're not, that does not mean you should then be unhappy. Sure, you can continue to pursue that or prefer that outcome, but at the end of the day, you need to appreciate where you are because where you are is all you really have. The same thing goes for health. Obviously, you don't want to get sick, but if you do get sick, you need to accept that that is the present moment that you are in. And by complaining about it, you are doing nothing. And a better reaction would be to ask yourself, how can you improve your situation and make the most of the situation that you are currently in? Lesson 3 is that adversity is the only path forward. If you followed me for a while, you will know that I say over and over again, but that growth is in discomfort. Growth comes through hardship. We cannot grow and improve if we are never challenged. Challenges look like a million different things. It can be a death in the family. It can be losing all of your clients for your business. It could be something you just never expected. But regardless of what the situation is or what the context is, every single moment that is difficult or maybe defined as a hardship is another opportunity for you to grow. You don't grow in comfortable situations. You don't grow doing the same thing over and over again. Eventually, situations that were once hard become easy and you get comfortable and you get into a rhythm and you stop challenging yourself. Most people, when they turn the age of 25, stop challenging themselves. They get a job that they get into a rhythm of that doesn't push them, and then they ignore that, and then they wonder why they aren't feeling fulfilled on an everyday basis. I don't mean that you need to go get a different job or give up what you are doing, but I do mean that you need to begin to acknowledge situations in your life that you otherwise avoid or define as bad as opportunities to grow and improve, and to begin to seek out discomfort in your life and make the uncomfortable comfortable. Hardship is just part of the human experience and is just another opportunity to be better. Lesson 4, self-awareness is your best friend. I know it sounds obvious, but if you are not aware of the problems that you have, you cannot improve or fix those problems. I see it far too often where people are afraid to acknowledge their problems because frankly, it sucks admitting that you are not who you want to be or where you want to be. But the only way that we can improve who we are and grow and progress is by looking in the mirror and admitting to ourselves that we are not who we want to be. We don't have the habits that we want. We might not have the career that we want, or maybe we're not pushing ourselves enough. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid. Yeah, it fucking sucks to do it. It hurts at first, right? You rip off the Band-Aid, you're in pain, but that pain is much shorter when you can acknowledge what is wrong and give yourself a plan to fix it and see where you can improve than to just leave it on. And I mean, it's not the same as the Band-Aid analogy, but the longer that you leave it on, the more it sucks when you do finally have to tear it off and realize that you lived this life full of regret. So start taking extreme responsibility for your life and your actions. It really is the only path forward. The only way that you can improve is when you actually take responsibility for your own life and for your own outcomes. This is different than acknowledging that things are out of your control, because this is 100% internal. Taking responsibility for your problems and your habits and things that you do in your life will allow you to then be able to improve upon them, remove bad things, add good things, etc. Lesson 5 is Amor, fati, which is a Latin phrase that means love one's fate, and I actually have it tattooed right here. And essentially what this means is it means that we need to appreciate every moment that we are in, because it is all that we really have and all that we are guaranteed. And if we're not taking advantage of the moment that we are in, we're not really living at all. At the end of the day, our fate and our lives and the present moment is entirely our own. And so since it is our own responsibility to take advantage of it and make the most of it, regardless of what the situation might be. If it's a positive situation, be aware, be happy, be grateful that you are where you are. I just moved into a new apartment, which is the nicest place that I've ever lived. And I am being very intentional with appreciating the small things, like, I don't know, how well groomed the lawns is and how nice the people in the community are, and the fact that I get to wake up and do what I love, and I can wake up and take my dog for a walk outside, and just the small things in the present moment that you otherwise would not be aware of. Appreciate them. And the same goes for negative situations and situations that might seem shitty. Yeah, they suck, but they are part of your fate. They are part of your journey, your life. And so it is entirely up to you to, rather than feel bad for yourself about them, to view them for what they are, accept it, and learn from them. We get to decide whether or not things are good or bad. And when we define them as bad, we stop ourselves from actually being able to utilize them for something good. It sucks. Breakups, relationships, deaths, getting fired from your job. But rather than feel bad for yourself and sit there and wallow in self-pity, use them as an opportunity to grow and reflect and become a better person on the other side. Lesson 6, Memento, mori. I also have this tattooed right here, but I'm wearing a hoodie, so I'm not going to take off my shirt to show you. But essentially what this is, it's another Latin phrase, and in English, it basically means remember you must die. When I first got this tattoo, and I told my mom that, I don't think she was too happy, but what it really means is sort of the opposite. It's not about death. It's more so about life. It is a reminder that yeah, we are all going to die. Everyone who has ever lived has died. There's no avoiding it. So rather than ignore it and not acknowledge it and try to deny it or whatever, we should acknowledge it, accept it, understand that it can happen, that it will happen, then it can happen at any moment, and use that as a reminder to take advantage of today, right now. When you begin to realize that it could all be over in an instant, and I'm not trying to get too morbid here, but when you understand that it could just be over in any instant, it is a lot harder to make excuses for yourself to not act now, to not take advantage of today. It's a lot harder to delay things till tomorrow, till next week. It's a lot harder to delay taking that risk that you keep avoiding, or asking that girl out, or asking for a promotion, or going on that trip that you just are scared to go on, when you start to realize that you don't know when it's going to be done. And so really what it is it's just a reminder to remember that all you are guaranteed is right now, and that you should take advantage of the present moment rather than delaying life. Lesson 7, and the final lesson of this video, is embody your philosophy. Now, what this means is essentially to live what you preach. Walk the walk, if you will. It's so common nowadays, and I fall victim to it too, to just, consume media, read books about being a better person or leading a better life or doing X, Y, and Z, and to not actually perform and act upon that information. Oftentimes we'll consume this information and we'll tell others about it, and we won't even be doing it. And so basically what embody your philosophy means is it means to live what you teach, to do what you say that you actually do. There's no value in being someone who just rinses and repeats information, who just watches a video on stoicism, copies it, and makes their own video on it. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but what you should do is actually apply it to yourself. Actually take what you consume and apply it to your own life and live your philosophy. We're not going to be perfect every day. No one is. No one is the perfect stoic, if you will, every single day. But that's not the point. The point is to try to be that person every day, to try to embody it every day and as often as you can, because that is what makes you more happy and creates a more joyful and fulfilling and meaningful life, is being able to look back and be proud of the fact that you tried or are trying to be a better person every single day. So embody the philosophy. Don't just talk about it. Don't just share it with others. Live the life that you preach to others. If you want to learn more about stoicism as a whole, I can't recommend Ryan Holiday enough. I know there's a lot of authors now who write about stoicism, and obviously all the ancient texts are highly valuable, like Letters of a Stoic, Meditations, obviously, XYZ. But if you want to really understand how you can learn stoicism and apply it to modern life, I highly recommend Ryan Holiday. He has a whole series of books that are very easy reads and I think will be really valuable to you, and honestly is the reason why I got into stoicism and how I got into stoicism, and a major player in me improving my life and becoming a better person. So I can't recommend his books enough. But yeah, that's it for this week's video. If you guys have any lessons that you have taken away from stoicism or even other philosophies, I'd love to hear what you guys are doing to improve your lives and sort of lessons or things that you live by. So let me know down below in the comments what you guys are applying to your own lives. If you enjoyed this week's video as well, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe down below. I also have a weekly free newsletter where I share my creative thoughts, insights, and just reflections on life every single Saturday morning, so you can subscribe to that down below. But other than that, that will be all for this week's video, and I'll see you next Saturday.